Hi everyone. Once again, welcome to SCOM Encouragement Series. Today, I would like to share with you from Matthew chapter 14, verse 22 to 20 to verse 34. Actually, 31. So let's read Matthew chapter 14, verse 22. Immediately, Jesus made the disciple get into the boat and go on ahead of him to the other side, while he dismissed the crowd. After he had dismissed them, he went up on a mountainside by himself to pray. Later that night, he was there alone, and the boat was already a considerable distance from the land, buffeted by the waves because the wind was against it. Shortly before dawn, Jesus went out to them, walking on the lake. When the disciples saw him walking on the lake, they were terrified. "It is a ghost," they said, and cried out in fear. Jesus immediately said to them, "Take courage, it is I, do not be afraid." "Lord, if it is you," Peter replied, "tell me to come to you on the water." "Come," he said. Then Peter got down out of the boat, walked on the water, and came to Jesus. And when he saw the wind, he was afraid, and beginning to sink, cried out, "Lord, save me." Immediately Jesus reached out his hand and caught him. "You of little faith," he said, "why did you doubt?" And when they climbed into the boat, the wind died down. Then those who were in the boat worshiped him, saying, "Truly you are the Son of God." This incident happened right after Jesus fed 5,000. We know that in the episode when Jesus fed 5,000, there were 12 baskets full of food remaining. So the disciple just experienced a miracle that Jesus performed, and right after the experience of the miracle, Jesus sent them on a boat. And when they were on the boat, the wind was strong. They were struggling to. On verse 24 says they were buffeted by waves because the wind was against it. So we know that during the time when Jesus appeared to the disciple, the wind was strong. And when Jesus was walking beside them on the water, they were actually afraid. They thought that Jesus was a ghost. What I want to share today is only one point. Actually, I want to share one point. Peter was struggling with the wind when Jesus came. And when Jesus came, Jesus told him not to be afraid. And Peter replied to Jesus was, "Tell me, if it is you, tell me to come to the water." Peter's attention was directed towards Jesus at that time when Jesus appeared on the water. When he focused his attention on Jesus and asked Jesus that if it is you, tell me to come to the water, and Jesus says, "Come," Peter could get out of the boat, walk on the water towards Jesus. The problem with Peter is that after he was walking on the water, he focused once again back to the wind. In verse says, when he saw the wind, he was afraid and beginning to sink. When Peter's mind was focused on Jesus, he could walk on water. But when his attention focused back onto the wind, he started to sink again. A lot of us are like Peter. Our attention can be on one thing at a time only. We sometimes think that we can multitask, but in reality, we cannot multitask. We can only focus on one thing at a time. When Peter's attention was on Jesus, he could walk on water. But the moment he focused his attention on the wind, he began to sink. So for us, the same thing happened. In this world, you will have trouble, Jesus said. In our world, in our lives, there's always trouble. Jesus said that you will have trouble. Not you may have trouble, but you will have trouble. In our lives, we will have trouble. There are only two choices we have. Either we focus our attention on the trouble, or focus our attention on Jesus. When Peter focused his attention on Jesus, he could walk on water. When we focus our attention on Jesus, the wind in our life, the trouble in life doesn't exist anymore. Even though we know that trouble always exists in our life. In this world where you will have trouble, trouble always exists in our life. But the moment we focus on Jesus, trouble doesn't exist anymore, because our attention is now focused on Jesus and we can actually walk on water. The problem with us is that same thing would happen to Peter, is that he focuses his attention on the wind again. And that happens to us too in our lives. Sometimes when we focus on Jesus, wind doesn't seem to exist. But the problem is we are like Peter. Sometimes we look on our trouble in our life again. And when we do that, when we focus on troubles in our life, we will sink. We will be like Peter. We will have to call out to Jesus again and says, Lord, save me. The best part of this is that Jesus doesn't say, well, you focus your life on the world and not me anymore, so I won't save you. No, Jesus actually immediately saved him. Immediately reached out his hand and saved Peter. The same thing that we can get from this episode of what happened to Peter is that it's very encouraging for us that Jesus will listen to us. When we cry out to him for help, he will listen to us. And when we focus on him, we will not sink and we will walk on water. So this is what I have to share with everyone today. Thank you very much.